welcome back to Carrie's Culinary Crafts, and if you're new, welcome. I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Here on Carrie's Culinary Crafts, we talk all things food, and today I'm starting the video for the week of what I made for dinner. And for this first night's dinner, we are going to concoct something new. Something different. I've never tried it before. This is in part of trying to clean out things in my refrigerator and my pantry that I have, just to get them used up. So I have here 5 pounds of chicken. Now my family, even though everybody is here, we would not eat all of this chicken, but I do like to cook it all at the same time because one, we can have leftovers. 2, I can peel chicken off the bone and make other stuff like chicken salad or something like that. Or if there's enough left over for an entire meal, then I can go ahead and just save it and put it in a container and stick it in the freezer. And then that way it's another meal that's already ready. All I have to do is thaw it, and then reheat it. So I always go ahead and cook this whole thing of chicken, and this is what I get from the butcher box. This is a organic, free range chicken, and so I'm going to go ahead and get that. And 2 of the things that I pulled, well, 3 of the things I pulled out of the pantry are 2 types of Sweet Baby Ray's sauces. These are something that my mom, when she was going through her pantry cleaning out, she saw them and realized that she wasn't going to use them. So she went ahead and gave them to me because she knew that I would figure out something to do with them. And if you watched my menu meal plan the other day, I had mentioned that there's this one restaurant that we go to. It's a local restaurant here, and one of the wing sauces that they have is called a golden hot sauce, which is half buffalo and it's mixed with honey mustard sauce. So this is kind of like a play on that. Now, because everybody is eating this, including my granddaughter, I'm not going to make the buffalo part of it. Instead, I'm going to use barbecue. So these were the 2 sauces my mom gave to me. I'm going to mix them together in order to try and kind of like make that sauce from the restaurant that I really, really like. So I'm going to go ahead and get this chicken in this big bowl here. And even when I am cooking chicken that I'm going to use a sauce, I still like to use seasoning, a dry rub seasoning on it as well, just to make sure that all the chicken pieces have really, really good flavor. So I went into my big seasoning packet box and pulled out this garlic Parmesan seasoning. So I'm going to sprinkle this on the chicken first before I go ahead and put the sauces on it. It's just an extra layer of flavor. You certainly don't have to do this. I just like to, because I find that if you just use the jarred sauces, although it tastes good, it seems like it's just not quite seasoned enough with just the sauce. So I like to use a nice seasoning to coat the chicken first. So there is that garlic Parmesan seasoning mix. And then, you know what, before I get my hands all yucky, I am going to go ahead and open up these sauces so I don't get stuff all over them. Okay. So here is my chicken. Oh, there's my seasoned chicken, and I'm just going to go ahead and mix this around so it kind of gets coated on both sides with that seasoning mix. I am going to dump these in here so I can get them good and combined before tossing them on the chicken. Now I'm definitely going to mix this together and taste it, because so if I need to add like a little extra honey or something, I certainly can do that. Ooh, but it smells delicious. Okay, and that's what the sauce looks like. I'm going to give it a little taste just to see if it needs any honey or anything extra in it. Oh, that's good. Now, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave it as is. Tastes really, really good, actually. So, then I'm just going to go ahead and dump this on my chicken legs. It's funny, it actually kind of looks like chocolate, but I promise you it's not chocolate. Honey mustard and barbecue all mixed up. Let me get myself another pair of gloves. Go ahead and get my pan out here and get that sprayed. Because the way that we're going to cook this chicken, we're going to cook it nice and slow. Because the longer you cook it, the more caramelized and sticky this sauce will come on the chicken legs. If you just cook it just until, like, you know, if you would cook it on the normal temperature till your legs are done, this is going to be a very liquidy sauce being so hot. But if you slow cook it, it will turn into a really sticky sauce that will stick really nice to your chicken legs. And you'll see that whenever I pull it out of the oven later this afternoon when it's dinner time. But okay, so I got all of these nice and coated. Now I'm just going to go ahead and dump this into my pan here. Hopefully they will all fit. I want to get all that sauce because I want all of that sauce to get really, really thick. So that is our chicken. I'm going to cook this for the first hour at 400 degrees, and then I'm going to turn it down to 350 degrees, and then cook it probably for another anywhere between a half hour to an hour. You just need to look until you find that consistency that you're looking for with the sauce. And you don't need to worry about it. Your chicken is not going to dry out. This is bone-in, skin-on chicken. It takes a while to cook, and it will stay very, very moist because of the bones and the skin that is on there. So you don't need to worry about it drying out. Really what we're looking for is just that consistency of the sauce. We'll stick a thermometer in, check the temperature, make sure it's the correct temperature, and then make sure that the sauce is where it needs to be. If the sauce is not quite done yet, then you want to turn your oven down to like 300 if your chicken is done. While that is sitting, I am also going to go ahead and prepare our one side dish. Now I am making a corn casserole. Both my kids absolutely love corn casserole, and I have not made it in a long time because you need to make it in the oven, and I haven't been using the oven much because summertime I like to cook outside. But since I'm already going to have the oven hot and heated up for the chicken, I'm going to go ahead and make a corn casserole so I can also put that in the oven at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on the corn casserole. Now this is corn casserole. You can see recipes for it everywhere. The majority of them use the Jiffy corn mix, the little box of Jiffy corn mix. You can use that. You could make it from scratch, whatever you like. But what I'm going to do, and you need 8 ounces of it. So what I did, I made these garlic cheese biscuits yesterday, you know, kind of like Red Lobster biscuits, and I had 3 of them left over. So I went ahead and took out my scale and weighed them, and they weigh 10.2 ounces. So, and then if you take away the bag, I'm probably at around 8 ounces. So I am just going to crush up these Red Lobster biscuits and use that as the biscuit instead of the box, the Jiffy box. Okay, so you need 8 ounces of Jiffy or cornbread mix, 1/2 cup of melted butter. I have my herb butter here. And we'll need a can of whole kernel corn, a can of cream style corn, and 1 cup of sour cream. I don't usually buy sour cream, but I do have Greek yogurt here. So that is what I use as a substitute for sour cream. So I am going to go ahead and get these cans opened up and get all the ingredients in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and mix it in this casserole dish here. I'm going to try and mix everything in here. If I have to switch it, I certainly will. Now, this is the regular corn. You definitely want to drain all of that liquid out. So there is 1 can of corn, 1 can of creamed corn, okay, and then 1 cup of yogurt. Now I only have about this much in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that all. It is probably a cup, more or less a little. We shall see. Yeah, I think it might be just under a cup, but it'll be fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to break these up inside the bag here. Now this all goes back to, like, you know, when you're doing a pantry challenge or cleaning out your fridge or cleaning out your pantry or something like that. This is just going back to that, using what you have. I had those Red Lobster biscuits. Personally, don't like them reheated and eaten the following day. To me, they taste the best when they're fresh. So I am just going ahead and using up these biscuits in a different way so they're not wasted. All right. And then, actually, I think this pan is going to be just perfect. All right, so this is just over, okay, it's like 2/3 of a cup, so it's just over half a cup. I'm just going to go ahead and use it all. This is the melted herb butter. And I use my own herb butter because I have it. That's why I make it, so I can enjoy herb butter. And but you can certainly use just plain butter if you don't have herb butter. It just, to me, it just adds an extra layer of flavor. That is why you always see me using my herb butter when I can. Certainly wouldn't use it if I'm baking, but if I'm cooking, certainly use the herb butter. Okay, now I'm just going to spread it out evenly. And now that is ready for whenever it's time for dinner. So I'm just going to cover this with foil, and then I am going to set it aside. And then when it's dinner time, we'll go ahead and start baking our chicken and our corn casserole. Okay, so it's about 2.5 hours before it's time for dinner. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking my chicken. Now, I have it covered with foil for now, and I have it on this baking sheet because all of that sauce in there is gonna bubble, and I don't wanna make a mess in my oven. So that's why I have it on a cookie sheet. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in my oven. I am going to cook it for 1 hour at 400 degrees. Then I will come back in an hour and I will turn it down to 350 degrees and cook it for another 30 minutes before I come back and I test the chicken. I'll take the temperature, and if it is done, then I will turn it down to 300 degrees. If it is not done, I will leave it at 350 and then just keep it back in the oven until it comes up and reaches that internal temperature of 165 degrees for bone-in, skin-on chicken. This is after 1 hour of the chicken cooking. I'm gonna go ahead and flip all the chicken and then put it back into the oven, lower the temperature to 350. And this is what it looks like after 1.5 hours. As you can see, the sauce is extremely thick and bubbly. And I'm gonna go ahead and test my chicken. Pretty sure that it is done. Oh yeah. Yep. So they are all over, they are all at least 165 degrees. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit, because as it starts to cool, that sauce will thicken even more. So today it took a total of 1.5 hours to get it to this consistency where the sauce is really thick and sticky. Hi friends, I'm gonna do my best and do a voiceover for this. I'm still battling this cold. I've been sick for a while, but I'm gonna try and get through this so I can get a video up for you guys and not miss another day. So here I'm melting up some of my garlic herb butter. And on this day, I was making the creamy Italian chicken pasta. Now, here is the Italian chicken that I had in the freezer. It was in the deep freezer. I had put it together a while ago where I
had a whole bunch of chicken that day and I marinated it with all different things. Now, this is just your basic Italian dressing marinade, and I'm going to go ahead and cook these until they are done, and then I will remove them from the pan and I will make the sauce with the. I'm going to leave all of that marinade in the pan, and then I'm going to add a few things to it in order to make this creamy Italian sauce that I'm going to put with this chicken over pasta. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to put a lid on it here. When you put a lid on it, it tends to cook faster. So I put a lid on it, and I'm going to go ahead and dump in a pound of pasta into the other bowl or other pan back there, adding a bunch of salt to the water. You definitely want to salt your pasta water because that's really your only chance that you can season your pasta. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to my chicken, and now I'm going to flip it over onto the other side. Now, these are all boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So they really are not going to take that long at all. Just, maybe I think I may have had it on like 5 minutes on the one side, and then I'll do it 5 minutes on the other side. Um, the way that you test chicken, just make sure that it is done, is that you put a thermometer in it. If it's at least 165, it is done. Now, if it is slightly underdone, you won't have to worry because you're going to add it back in with the sauce and the pasta and cook it a little more to get all the flavors mangled together. Okay, so with this pasta dish, I'm going to go ahead and make these cheddar garlic biscuit mixes, or kind of like Red Lobster biscuit mixes. And these are just the packets where I just need to add milk. So I'm going to go ahead and use these up, and I'm using two of them just because I do have a house full of people. So I'm going to put both of these packs in, and then I believe it's like a half a cup of milk for each pack. So I'll put 1 full cup of milk in. And this is the milk that I use for cooking, is the boxed milk. So I don't use my son's drinking milk. So I'm going to go ahead and add this in, and then I'm going to get it combined, and then I will scoop it out onto a cookie sheet, and then they will be ready to bake whenever. Um, I'm also adding in another big handful of cheddar cheese. And here I'm mixing it up, and then I'm going to scoop it onto some cookie sheets. And then you'll just need to bake this for about at 350 for, I think it's like 12 to 14 minutes or something like that. I don't remember. This is like a week after I've actually done this. So I think it's something like that. And I did make these pretty decent in size because, my teenage sons, they don't want little single bite biscuits. So I do make them a pretty decent size. So now I'm back over to the chicken, flipping it over. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the temperature to make sure that it is the correct temperature and that it is done. And since it is done, I'm going to go ahead and remove the chicken. And as you notice, there is plenty of that marinade that is still left, which is what I want. I definitely want, excuse me, guys, sorry. plenty of sauce because, like I said, I'm cooking a pound of pasta with all of those chicken thighs. So in here is the Italian dressing, and I'm going to go ahead and add several things to it. And here I have some of that, a little bit of that crema that's left over. You know, I'm doing this pantry, this fridge clean out. So here is some leftover spaghetti sauce that I had. So I'm dumping that in there. And then I have a little bit of that crema left and some of this milk that I'm trying to use up since it's already open. I dumped some of that milk in with the spaghetti sauce to try and get the rest of that out. And there I'm going to add that crema. There wasn't much in there, but it's another thing that I wanted to clean out of my refrigerator. So got that cleaned out. Okay, and we'll get this stirred around a little bit. And we'll bring it, we want it to come back up to a simmer again. And here I'm adding in some of the fat-free Greek yogurt that I have. I didn't use all of it. I was hoping to use the whole thing, but there was more in there than I thought there was. So I added maybe about a half a cup or so. And then I'm going to go ahead and stir this together and get it really good and mixed. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add in some salt and pepper and some Italian seasoning blend. And I'm going to give this a good whisk together. Okay, now I'm going to add in some fresh basil that I cut up. And then I'm going to go ahead and dump in my pasta. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a good stir, just to get it nice and combined before I go ahead and add the chicken back in. And here goes all the chicken. And of course I have a very full pan here. I probably should have used my giant pan, but oh well. And that's it. And I'm gonna put my lid back on and basically turn off the heat until my husband is done with work, and then I will go ahead and plate it up. And here I decided to add some mozzarella cheese. I had a little bit of shredded mozzarella cheese left, so I figured why not add some cheese to the top. So I put in a big handful of mozzarella cheese, and then I will put the lid back on and turn off the stove and just let that melt on top. And then soon as my husband comes down from working, then we will sit down and have some dinner. And there is the final plate, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button, please. See you next time, friends. Bye.